Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Untitled Chapter. So yeah, this is going to be a great time. Hey guys, it's me, Ronin Time HD, your host, and welcome back to Ticket Tuesday. And we just watched FireStarter, and you know what? I'll just tell you back at the house. Tell you what I think. It's a real fire starter. Anyway, see you back at the house.
How do you really feel?
It's not good. It's not good.
What's wrong with it?
Everything. The directing, the writing, the only thing good about it is the soundtrack. Like, the camera work especially is terrible. But, like, the only good thing about this film is the soundtrack. John Carpenter did the soundtrack, and it really shows. The highlight of the film is John Carpenter, which is understandable. It is John Carpenter. But it amazes me that he made the soundtrack for this movie, and it's the only thing that is gonna be remembered, that I'm gonna remember about this movie. You know, if there's one thing you should do with this movie, it's check out the soundtrack. But, you know what? I'm gonna tell you more about this movie back at the house. This is the longest intro that I've ever done.
A real life superhero.
Daddy,
What's going on, sweetie?
something feels weird. Something's changing.
The whole world going to hell. Promise me that you'll never use your gifts to hurt people.
I'll only hurt bad people, I promise.
Trust me, Charlie. You don't have to be afraid. Please, I can help you.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. I don't want to hurt anyone, but it feels kind of good.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I am your host, Ronin Time HD, and today we watched FireStarter, a film that is based off a Stephen King book, and this isn't the first time that this book has been adapted into a film. And I'm imagining, hopefully, that the other version, the older version of this film, is not nearly as bad as this one is. Because I've never seen that one. So, I'm assuming it's better. It hopefully is better. But, you know, where do I even start with this movie? You know, actually, I'm going to start off with the good things. There's only one that I can think of, and that's the kick-ass soundtrack that I mentioned in the intro. Yeah, the soundtrack, killer. Loved the soundtrack. It was done by the absolute legend John Carpenter, who, if you didn't know, is a really good music composer as well. He's really great at making music, and he even has some albums out too. So check those out if you're interested in Carpenter's music. I mean, his music is fantastic, so I highly recommend it. The only good thing that I can remember about this movie was the soundtrack. Killer. The rest of it, oh boy. Woo! 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 Yeah, it's not very good. Okay, so I'm gonna start with, like, the more technical parts, and I'm gonna get to the problems I had with, like, the story. But good God, the camera work is terrible in this movie. Like, I was like, you know how a movie is shot, right? So, like, when a person is talking, they're usually on this side when it cuts. It's kind of hard to explain. Like, you just gotta watch the movie and have, like, film knowledge. How can I... Does that sound pretentious? Film knowledge is... Okay. Well, if you have more film knowledge and you watch this film, you'll get it. Like, the way this film is shot, and some of it you don't even need to have film knowledge. Like, every shot is way too close, or it's like a weird Dutch angle. Like, I feel like people like this just need to, like, study how films are supposed to be shot, how they're supposed to be filmed, because I had to keep, like, because, you know, the way films are shot are, like, you're supposed to, if you keep looking in the same direction, You don't need to constantly switch back and forth to a different direction and hurt your neck throughout the entire film. You don't need to constantly look back and forth to pay attention to the film, you know? Like, that's what I ended up doing throughout this entire film because of how terribly the film was shot. And not only that, whenever a character is talking, the camera is not, like, at a fair distance from their face. It's, like, this close to their face. It's always this close. Like, you can't... It's like this close. Like, the camera, it's, like, this close to their face. And it's, like, so distracting because I feel like the film was... I don't even know what it's going for with how it's shot. And also, like, the framing. The framing is terrible. Like, I saw this so many. And, like, all the shots are like this. All the shots, they're never centered. You gotta center the frame. And they're never centered. There's, like, they're always either all the way to the left or all the way to the right. And there's just a huge gap of nothing going on. It looks like a stock image at some cases. Where there's just a big void of nothing right there. Like a wall or a light switch. There's nothing important on that side of the screen, but that's what you end up focusing on because it covers 60% of the screen is covered up by nothing. And the other 40% is covered by the shit you're supposed to be paying attention to. And it's too close to their face, and that doesn't even help. Because then, just shoot your films. Because also a thing I don't like is that whenever a character is having a conversation, I usually prefer the camera to be farther away from the characters. I think that's just a personal preference of mine, but when I watch a film, I prefer the camera to be, like, at a wide angle. Like, not super wide, but, like, an angle where you can see both of the characters, and you can see them having their conversation. Maybe in, like, an interesting angle that could, like, tell you something about the scene without being so blatant. But, like, it's always never in a conversation in this movie do they have, like, there's maybe I can count, maybe remember 2 times where, like, you can see both characters on the screen and they're talking to each other, like, in the same shot. But other times it's just switch when they're having a conversation, and I hate when films have conversations like that because it gets draining. You know, like, I want to get invested in this conversation, but I keep getting distracted by the constant cuts to the other character. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, doesn't that kind of annoy you? It's also because they were, like, facing the wrong direction. So, like, this character will be looking in the complete wrong direction to the person they're supposed to be talking to. And that's why I prefer them being in the same shot. Because the actors can actually speak to one another. I just don't like the constant cuts. Because I like films that have long takes. And I know that films don't need long takes, but I just like them. I like how I can, like, sink in the scene. Like, I can really experience the scene more. Get the acting, experience the acting, the cinematography, the directing, the writing, like, longer takes and longer, like, scenes I prefer, because then you get more out of it without the constant barrage of cuts like I was talking about earlier. But anyway, another bad thing about the movie I'm going to get to is the story was unoriginal, it was generic, and I get it. It's already based on an old book, and there's already an older movie that came first. But, like, you could have done better. Like, get a better writer, man. Like, get a competent writer. Get a competent director. Like, I'm not even certain how they got John Carpenter to do the fucking soundtrack on this thing. I'm not sure. And, like, the writing, I cannot remember one line of dialogue in this film. I cannot remember one line of dialogue. Like, it is so boring. And I thought it was going to be, like, a dumb, fun movie. Like, it was going to be so stupid, like a funny Stephen King movie to laugh at. Because that's what I like to do. Like, when I watch a Stephen King movie, like the newer ones, I like to laugh at them because they're stupid, right? Don't you think? Like, and even the older ones can be stupid. But that's just kind of the whole Stephen King thing, right? I just think this film took itself way too seriously for what it was. And I'm gonna just get into spoilers. I don't think you care. Like, I don't think anyone cares about this movie. The film, like, when did it come out? Like, it just came out. Well, you don't really care. So, like, there's the three characters. You have the dad, the kid, and the mom, right? And they're, like, all these telepathics, like, they're psychics and shit. They can do all that stuff, and the little girl, she can, like, summon fire with her mind and stuff. And that's all fine and dandy. But, like, they really drive into the thing. It's like, you gotta care about these characters. You gotta care about these characters. And I get it, they're the main characters, but at least make them memorable. And they did not do that. Like, I know I end up saying this a lot about bad movies, but I did not care. I did not care about the story in this movie. And I was only waiting for another stupid, dumb, fun thing to happen. Because then I could laugh at it, and I could have fun for, like, a few seconds. But then it's over, and then I get back to the mundane snooze fest that this is. And I just, like, I haven't read the book. I haven't seen the movie. But there must have been something. Like, I don't understand how you could take this somewhat, like, interesting premise, like, a girl with psychic powers and, like, fire psychic powers, and her dad running away from, like, evil corporation. I mean, that's kind of generic, but it can still be interesting if done right, but it was not done right at all. And I just feel like this film was, as I said, trying too hard. I think this film was trying way too hard. And you have to admit, that plot is a little silly. It's kind of like a little comic booky, and it's like an X-Man movie, right? Like, she actually, I think, would make a pretty cool X-Man, or X-Woman. But, but, like, she would make a pretty good X-Men. And she could be interesting, but she's not. And I think this film was also, I have a feeling films like this are always trying to, we gotta make a universe. We gotta make a universe. How we are just trying to do what the MCU did. We need to make a trilogy. We need to be the next Star Wars. Like, they always gotta, I don't know if this film is trying that, but it might. I think it's trying to do that, and I don't know. I don't think it would work. And this film didn't work. Like, it just, no. So, I think this film is bland, boring, unoriginal, uninspired, and that's just kind of what I think about it. You know, it's just like, I just don't think this film is really worth watching. I mean, you can't even really laugh at it because at the beginning you kind of can because it's a little funny, and occasionally from time to time there's some funny parts, but for the most part it's not even a dumb fun movie, like I said, because it's trying, it has these stupid parts, but it tries to take it seriously, which I said earlier, you can't really take a Stephen King movie seriously because it's Stephen King, alright? It's Stephen King.
I don't know if that's true. So would you say that this was
It's Street Fighter!
Would you say that this is a miss from Blumhouse?
You know what? Blumhouse, this is a miss. I'm gonna say this is a miss, Blumhouse. And I actually forgot this is a Blumhouse film, which doesn't really surprise me, because it's either a hit or miss with Blumhouse. It's really mixed. Like, they can make good movies from time to time, but they can make some real stinkers sometimes. And this is definitely one of them. And I would definitely not recommend this film if you were a Stephen King fan, film fan, Blumhouse fan, horror fan. This isn't really horror, but it is Stephen King, so I might as well mention it. And just a film fan. If you like movies, if you're just a fan of films, Stephen King, whatever, don't watch it. Alright, I don't recommend it. Don't go out of your way to watch this film. It's just, I had no expectations for this film, and I still walked out disappointed. That says a lot. I didn't walk out of the film, by the way. I mean, I walked out of the film after the credits were done. I'm like, wow, that film, It's not good. So I think I'm going to rate this film a 4 out of 10. I give this film a 4 out of 10. Bad. Wouldn't watch again. Wouldn't watch again. So guys, should I check out the 1984 film? Is it better? Is it worse? Highly doubt it, but is it better? Tell me in the comments. Let me know. So guys, hope you like this video. Hope you subscribe, turn those notifications on, share it with a friend, like it again. Then answer the question down in the comments. But you know how the show goes. I say that every time, but I still gotta say it again because that's just kind of my thing. But you know what I really meant. What I meant to say was, I hope you guys hated this video. Unsubscribe, just so I can tell me how much hate me in the comments. Signing off. Bad.